to Ghent in Belgium. It has about 265,000 inhabitants. And Peter, where is he? Peter Vansevenant, former employee of the mobility department of the city of Ghent. Hello, Peter.
Hello, good morning.
Nice to see you. And he will give us now insights in the circulation plan of Ghent, and I ask you to share your desk and start the presentation. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Good morning from Ghent. Can you all see my sheets?
We can see it.
Okay. So I will talk about our circulation plan in Ghent that we introduced now about 6.5 years ago, almost 7 years ago in 2017. Before starting, I have to point out a little bit where Ghent is. It's in the northern part of Belgium, Flanders, the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. And here you see the roundabouts of the city. And can you see my cursor? I don't know if you can see, but however,
yes, we can see it. We can see it.
Then we have in Ghent an outer ring road here, the R4, and the distances between here and here is about 15 kilometers. It's not completely built up area, of course, but the area we are going to talk about is the area within our inner ring road, the R40. That's this one. And it's about 11 kilometers long. That's, for instance, quite longer than the Ringstraße in Vienna. It's 11 kilometers. And the surface within it is about 7.5 square kilometers. And there are about more than 50,000 people living there. So we're going to talk about this area. Key moments in mobility planning. We already started with a cycling plan in '92. Just know that we have invested quite a lot in cycling infrastructure over the last 30 years, and we're still investing. And you see with a lot of success, you will see it later. But then another key moment was the mobility plan for the inner city in '97. And why did we do that? Well, this is a picture of Ghent in the, let's say, the early 90s of the previous century. It's really the city heart. You see the 3 famous towers of Ghent. We had at this time already a number of pedestrian streets, but there were isolated commercial streets. And in between all those pedestrian streets, you had enormous amounts of traffic. So the situation was not tolerable anymore. And then, so a bit more than 25 years ago, it was decided to create a big pedestrian area in the city heart, linking all those little islands of pedestrian streets. So we had a coherent and large pedestrian area. And we also started to redesign, to refurbish the public space. And this area today looks now like this. All cars are gone. It's now domain for public transport, pedestrians, and cyclists. Okay, then you will say, why did you do another plan? Why did you need another plan? Why did you need this circulation plan for the city center 20 years later? Well, first of all, we have to see, and here you see the population growth in the city of Ghent. And over the last 20 years, we went from 225,000 to about 265,000. So there was an enormous population growth in Ghent. And although the number of cars per household was decreasing, because the population growth went so fast, the net result was still more cars. And that was what we experienced in the city center. And here you see the situation before. Here you see this famous R40, this inner ring road. And within, in the center, this shaded area here, that was our pedestrian area. And this pedestrian area, everything was all right, very nice, haven of peace. But once you went out of this pedestrian area, you were confronted with lots and lots of cars. And again, 20 years after our first plan, we saw that in this area, there was far too much car traffic. Actually, we did then some calculations, and the access from Ghent to Ghent from the motorways is in the south of the city. And we saw that 11% of the traffic within the area of the R40 was simply through traffic, people who entered the city, then drove just around the pedestrian area and went out in the north again. Why did they do so? Because they had the perception it was faster than following the ring road, which has a lot of traffic lights. And then there was also almost a third of people who had destinations in the north of the city. And instead of using the R40 and then coming down again, they again went just through this area. And you have to know the roads just around the pedestrian areas were roads where there were cyclists, lots of public transport, buses and trams. So quite a lot of car traffic, unnecessary car traffic within this area. Moreover, almost 10% of car traffic was even internal traffic, meaning cars that went from one side of this area to another side. So the perception, it was true, there was far too much motorized traffic in this whole area, in this city center. So it was decided to do something about it. And why? Obviously, to decrease car traffic in this area within this R40. And what were the goals? Well, we wanted to increase livability by keeping motorized transit traffic out of the city center. And we wanted to have a better accessibility of this area for all modes. And how did we do it? Of course, keep out through traffic, but we divided the whole area in sectors. So the area was divided in a number of 6 sectors, and going from one sector to another is now only possible by using the ring road. Of course, we had also extra measures to facilitate modal shift. We worked on park and rides. We improved a bit the traffic flow on the city ring road. We had a shuttle, walking bus. So we had a number of measures to accompany the fact that we divided the area in sectors, and you couldn't get through there was no transit traffic possible. And here you see on a scheme what's the basic idea. Before, you could enter the city and just drive around the pedestrian area and get out on in the north. And afterwards, with the sectors, you can enter a sector, but if you want to go from this sector to this one, you have to get out again and use the ring road to re-enter another sector. The same, if you now come from the south, you want to go to the northern sector, you really have to follow the ring road. It is not possible anymore to drive through the city center. So you really have to use the ring road. And now we have here you see these 6 sectors, and in the middle we had old pedestrian area, which, by the way, we slightly extended as well with the plan. How do we prevent traffic going through? Well, we make it clear with blocks, bollards, paints, plans and benches, but in the end we have ANPR cameras, so cameras that can recognize your number plate. If it's on the white list, there's no problem. If it's not on the white list, you get a fine of 58 euros. Any results? Well, of course, we can look to modal shift, traffic livability, safety and accessibility. First of all, modal shift, oh yes, and especially in the area within the R40, we saw that the bicycles in and out of the city center increased with 60%. And also on selected spots, we counted within the city center 50% more bicycles. Motorized traffic in and out of the center decreased with about 17%. There was also an increase in the use of public transport with 6%. On walking, we didn't find little effect. Maybe it's now time to have a look in the evolution of the model split, so the choice of means of transport. over the last, let's say, the last 12 years. We did travel surveys about every 3 years. And in 2012, we still had about 47.8% of all journeys of the people of Ghent that were made by a car driver. But then you see a very pronounced decrease until now, and nowadays it's about 1/3 of all journeys of the people of Ghent is made by car. On the other hand, this one is the bicycle, and it went from about, well, when we started in 97, it was about 14-15%, and it went up all the time. And nowadays, about 1/3 of all the journeys of the people of Ghent is made by a bicycle. It's partially due, of course, due to the circulation plan, but not solely, because, as I said before, we have invested quite a lot in bicycle infrastructure. We have very, very good bicycle infrastructure. And then you see walking is stable, and public transport went up. But as said before by a previous speaker, due to COVID, it went down again, and they still don't have recovered all passengers they lost during COVID. Of course, there's better air quality, especially if you measure on the filter points. That's the roads linking two sectors, where previously, before the plan, we had up to 700 cars. Now there is only buses, public transport, cyclists, virtually no cars. Of course, you have better air quality. We took out about 60% of the transit traffic, and almost in all streets within this area, residential streets and most main roads, there is less car traffic. And of course, we have a strong reduction of traffic jams. For cars, strangely enough, the travel time to the city center decreased. Why? Because if you have really a destination in the city center, it's now easier or faster to reach it, because you are not hindered anymore by the through traffic, the car traffic that doesn't need to be there, isn't there anymore. But of course, travel time on the ring road increased by about 10%. And for cyclists, less cars, more infrastructure, it's safer and more pleasant to ride. And actually we say we made a shortcut by introducing this plan. We could have built bicycle paths along all those roads. It wouldn't be possible on all roads because some are narrow, but even if we wanted to build them, it would have taken us ages. And by introducing this plan, we created in many streets far more nice conditions for the cyclists. How did we do it? I can talk quite a lot about it. It's very important to prepare such a plan very thoroughly. It took us 3 years to prepare it: participation, information, communication. We had quite a number of informations. We had per sector 2 meetings. We had conversations with the public at large, with shopkeepers, with schools, with enterprises. We also had 2 MOBI coaches, were people, two members of staff who went to enterprises, to shopkeepers, to talk about the plan and what was going to change. We had also a citizens forum for evaluation afterwards. So quite a lot of information participation. Communication was very important before, but also during. As you can see here, when the plan was introduced, we had stewards on the street to talk about, to inform people who weren't aware of the plan. And lastly, of course, even after it, we did some campaigns, and this poster says, you want to go another time to Ghent? Well, it's a piece of cake. So that was in short the plan we introduced in the city of Ghent.
Peter, thanks a lot for the great presentation. It was a very interesting insight how Ghent reduces successfully the traffic problems. There are a lot of questions in the chat room, so I ask you now already to answer them after our talk now. But I have also one question to you. How long did it take from the plan to make this circulation plan till the implementation? And did you have role models?
What do you mean by role models?
The circulation plan, is it a measurement which is common in Belgium cities,
okay,
or
no,
did you look
no,
to
okay.
other cities in the Netherlands, for example?
Okay, yes, okay. Well, first of all, it took us 3 years. The preparation started about 3 years before. The discussions with the public, let's say, started 2 years before. So you really need a lot of preparation time. Were the role models? Yes, the city of Groningen in the north of the Netherlands had introduced such a plan already 20 years before, but the city of Groningen is a bit smaller. And in Belgium, in Flanders, the city of Leuven did the same thing. It's also a bit smaller city, but they did it even a little bit before us. But the main idea comes from Groningen to divide your city center in sectors. So that was for us the role model.
And how was the reaction of the people of Ghent when
Well,
you said you want to
Ghent is
implement this?
is the second largest city in Flanders, so it was very much in the media. And as you can expect, we had pro and cons. There was lots and lots of debate. Of course, there was opposition. But still, after 18 months, we had municipal elections. And I can say the party who was really, really against it lost seats. And the city councillor who was responsible for the plan did very well in the election. So my guess is, and even now we are 7 years later, nobody wants to get rid of the plan anymore. So I think people appreciate it now.
Peter, thank you very, very much. It was just great that you took part in our conference and your presentation. As I said before, please look in the chat room and answer the questions of our guests.
Okay.